All right. If the streaming gods are in agreement, we we are streaming live now. Just so you know, Troy, this is the last stream that we're gonna do that goes only to one destination. Going forward, I'm gonna stream to restream.io and syndicate the stream out to Twitch, to Facebook, and to the YouTubes. So we're moving out of beta. We're moving out of beta. That's what's happening. So,
Good deal. Yeah, I'm looking over here because that's where the YouTube window is when it pops up. So I have to make sure that I quickly pause it and mute it.
yeah,
You know how that works.
I know how it
'Cause
works.
I put the chat window over here.
It's the streamer's dance. It's the streamer's dance. It's like the old drone dance we used to all have to do. Remember? Hold your drone and then spin in a circle, then hold your drone and spin in a circle.
Still got to do that though, right? We still got to do
No,
that.
I haven't done that in forever. I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe that's why I keep crashing. I don't know.
Well, mine's still old, so mine's the original DJI Mavic Pro. So it still makes me do that, but I haven't flown it in like a year. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, this should be cool. So we'll see if we get viewers in here. The what was I going to tell you? Yeah, so we're going to syndicate out the stream going forward after this. I'm streamlining it, and yeah, a couple other things. But the most important thing today, Troy Miller, is this T-shirt I'm wearing. Did you notice it?
I can't see anything on it, so I don't know. Oh, nice.
Oh, wait.
Shirt,
F-64, baby, right there.
You know, I have a collection of those that I have a surplus. We need to send some of those out. Anybody that wants one.
Oh, I could use a couple more. This is my only one like this. And these fit great too. I love these shirts. These are perfect.
Yeah, they're good.
I love it. I love it.
The guy that made those is called Cat Specialties. He does a lot of promo materials and he does everything. I mean, you name it, he can print on it. And he's in just outside LA. I want to say he's like in Pasadena or someplace like that. So that guy is, I think his name is Mark. Great guy. Hand delivered those things to us the night of the event or the night before the event because we were so crazy. So yeah, we love those shirts. We tested like 5 shirts.
That's cool. That is cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. And whenever I wear this, people are like, "Where do you get that shirt from? Where do you get?" So you got to make more without all the branding on the back, right? You got to make just F-64 ones with the F-64 on the sleeve, but none of the back stuff. So the non-conference version. It's the non-conference version. Come on. So
that's true. Yeah, but Miller's paid for the shirts, so it's fair to have their name on there.
There you go. Yeah, you got to have that on there.
They paid for all this.
Well, today's topic for the photo critique was open general, as determined by you, sir, Mr. Troy Miller. Open general. We got a couple of nice submissions in here. I'm excited to step through them. Have you had a chance to look at everything yet?
I did, and I'm gonna have a hard time choosing a favorite. I've already been like, ooh, this one or ooh, that one. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let
it
fall.
Same here, but that's good. That's the way it should be. Well, let's dive in because we got a couple to go through, and let's use the hour wisely and just dive in and take a look at these things. I'm excited. I purposely, Troy Miller, did not look at the submissions this week because these open categories, I like to be surprised and kind of take them as they come. And what was the other reason? What were we watching last night? And I didn't. So we were watching something. We were watching something. Oh, what was it? Oh, Nicole wanted to watch Austin Powers for some reason, so we were watching. Yeah,
I'm
the first Austin Powers. We were watching that show, and we were sad and entertained at the same time because we were sad from the standpoint of 90% of the gags and jokes in that movie would, for some reason, not be appropriate today because of political correctness and all this, this nonsense we have going on. It's like, that's a perfectly good, funny toilet humor joke, but can't do it these days because somebody might get offended, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Sad,
yeah.
sad,
When
sad.
that was popular, I always wanted to take along a junk camera, and after I'm photographing somebody, say I'm spent, and just throw my camera over my shoulder, you know. But Margie was like, "No, because I won't be ready to catch it. It'll hit somebody," and I'm like, "Damn, that
Yeah,
movie's so
yeah. Yeah, well, the effect that movie had on me was for the rest of the evening after that movie went off, I kept saying, "Yeah, baby."
good."
Oh,
You gotta pump up
behave.
the
Do I make you horny, baby? Yeah.
nerve. Thank you, Mike Myers.
What happened to Mike Myers? Come on, Mike, you need to come back. We need you.
Yeah, just get us through the rest of the end of this pandemic thing. Like, yeah, just
Dude,
anything. Give us
seriously.
something.
Uh,
Maybe,
uh,
maybe he's watching this and he can come on and be a guest critiquer. That's what we need. Austin
that
Powers.
would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. I like it. I like it. All right, let's dive into these, sir. What do you say? Let's dive in and take a look at these submissions. Okay, let's bring up the TWiP Pro here. All right, where are we? Okay, good. We are sorted by date created. It looks like the very first one. And just folks that are watching, if you want to navigate, if you're in the TWiP Pro community, you want to navigate to where we are. We're in the photo critique group, and I've sorted the group by date created. So last in is first reviewed. And the first one is submitted by Eric Pronsky. He calls this one Windmills at Sunset. Let's take a look at this one. He shot this in the Netherlands. Look at that.
Oh, God, that's so cool.
We saw this one before. I feel like we've commented on this image or one similar to it in the past. Do you remember? Because I remember us discussing maybe it was just one similar, because I remember us talking about the windmills and how the subordinate windmills in the background were supporting characters to the main one in the foreground.
Right.
And all that. I don't know. It could just be a similar image, but it looks familiar.
No, it does look familiar to me. So where we saw it before, I'm not entirely sure. I think in an image like this, I think that what's so cool is that one, it's a unique visual for us, right? We don't see these all the time for us. So where they might be mundane for the locals, for us, like that's really, really cool. And then of course the color palette is really fantastic. So I love that. I do feel that it's tilted or rotated counterclockwise a little bit, so we need to bring that to the right. These kind of images I really struggle with the reflections, because it usually splits the image right in the center, and I don't know if that's the best way to do this. The reflection's beautiful. I think that just the reflection with a little bit of shoreline would maybe be my favorite, or get rid of some of that reflection and then also crop it on the right. I don't think we need to see the waterway down the right.
Yeah, and it's bright over there too. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, the bisecting of the image, which it's just a guideline, not a rule, but yeah, when you have something that's mirrored like this, it kind of pulls you into that kaleidoscope mode kind of thing. We always talk about who's the hero of the image. I think in this shot, like we probably said before, the other windmills are supporting characters, and they're great, but then the reflection is competing with those supporting characters, I think, as to, okay, where do you want me to look? The windmill, which is awesome, the reflection of the windmill, which is impressive, or the windmills in the background, or I know it doesn't have to be an or, but they're kind of competing. So I think what you said of like kind of tightening up the crop a little bit, maybe losing some of the windmill on the bottom and losing that right side over here, like right around here, would tighten it up and bring us directly in and literally say that this windmill is a subject. And then also on this windmill, I might have, if you did all that, I would bring up this windmill. I feel like it wants to pop out of there just a little bit, not too much. I know you're going for that moody kind of either early morning or dusk feel for it, but I feel like either there's not enough detail in it or too much detail. It feels right on the edge. Too much detail in that this could be pushed more towards silhouette, and going towards that direction if you wanted to. Not enough detail because you could go in the opposite direction and bring out more of it to make it pop out. And then it would be even more obvious that this windmill is the subject or the hero of our shot here. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Right. No, I agree. And this is one of those classic examples of where there's so many beautiful elements going on, so many cool things happening within the image. You've kind of decide which piece do you pick, because just photographing the whole scene, it's overly busy, right? It's
Yeah.
overly, there's too many subjects.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I agree. I agree. But cool shot. Cool shot. I like these. I like these kind of shots. I wish we had windmills like this local. There is a windmill on the coast, a big old in the area I live in. We're littered with literally hundreds and hundreds of windmills, but there are those, the high tech ones, right?
Right.
One of these that I know of locally is right on the coast, on the way down to Santa Cruz, close to here. So it's like an hour away. It's between Half Moon Bay and Santa Cruz. It's right next to a hostel. And it's similar to this, and it's close to a lighthouse as well. So I don't know. I'm jealous. I want this kind of stuff and close to me so I can shoot it.
It's a great shot.
Yeah, it's cool. Very cool. It's interesting how we come back to this view and the image is bigger. When we go into view the shot, it's smaller. I don't know. Mighty, what are you doing to me? All right, next shot is from Armando. He says photo composition for open theme critique. Let's take a look. This guy, look at that. Okay, there's a lot going on in here. I'm going to release the Miller on this one. Go for it.
Oh, man.
It's Miller time.
Oh, geez. So right away, looking at this image, I love the creativity that's going on in here, and I love what Armando. I really like what you've done, with the color palette and the orange sky and sort of that really mysterious look. And I think the compositing is done pretty well. I mean, I think for the most part, it sells itself pretty well. So anytime that we do compositing, we always have to, well, I look at this for all images, to be honest. I look for edge detail. I look for, like over here on the left hand side, where the birds are, there's some flare happening in front of the trees, and there's a little blotch on the left. So that tells me right away, even if I didn't know it was a composite, that would tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the unnatural darkening of the spire at the top, or the top of that building, compared to the rest and the tops of the trees, it doesn't make sense to me. Right? If
Mm-hmm.
light's lighting the scene, it's not only going to light the foreground, but it's also going to light that building up at the top. It's not that far away. It would light that. So,
Yep.
so these are all things that I go through when I look at this image, and then knowing it's a composite, I look for them even more.
Yeah.
So watch where the plane of light is. Watch where the light is hitting, and ask yourself, like, would this light normally? Because that's really the giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from those things, aside from just, yep.
No, I was just gonna say, and just on a subconscious level, even if you don't consciously kind of grok the path of the light, subconsciously your brain knows light because we've been living with it our entire lives. So even if you can't articulate it, you know how it's supposed to behave in certain scenes. And when it's not doing that, like here at the top of the spire here or the top of this building, then your brain says, okay, something's wrong. And like you said, Troy, as a photographer, we start thinking, okay, this is artificial, and you start looking for seams and the telltale signs of it instead of just enjoying the image, right?
Right, exactly. And I love the composite. I mean, I love what it's doing, and I like the story, and it's very intriguing, and it's fun. But it's just some of those lighting things that I think would really, really help, And then it feels like there's two skies in there. On the lower left is kind of where the sun's setting, and the top right it looks like it's from a different experience, right? The colors
Mm-hmm.
are different, the direction of light is different. So, but maybe that's
Yeah.
the intent. Maybe the right half is one dimension, the left half is that. Like, I can get into that. Like, I'm good with that.
How do you feel about these birds in here? Do you think those were there, or do you think those were added in post as well?
I think those were added.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those were definitely added.
This reminds me of an article I wrote. I wrote an article or last week for Skylum. Actually, they asked me to write an article on my thoughts on AI, not specifically about Luminar AI, but just my overall thoughts on AI. And this is a good example of it. Not although not one to one, but part of that article I was basically talking about kind of the Jeff Goldblum Jurassic Park quote, you know, just because you
Right.
can do a thing doesn't necessarily mean you should do a thing, you know,
Sure. Right. Right.
and Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. That stuff comes into play when these software manufacturers like Skyloom and Lightroom or Adobe, etc., when they give us these amazing tools, the knee jerk reaction, I think, if you're not operating from a standpoint of story, if you're not operating from I'm trying to tell a story and anything that is superfluous to this story must go, then you get into sort of this world of, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I put some birds in the sky? What if the sky looked like this? You know what? A hot air balloon would be awesome floating back in the background back there. It just becomes a salad of stuff and capability
Right.
versus something supporting the story. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the strength of those pieces of software are to add things to bring the scene up to normal when they're lacking, and then to take normal to fantasy, but not any of the things in between, right? When a scene is already beautiful, don't add birds. Don't add more clouds. You know, don't do that. Let let it be what it is. But if there's a complete void of clouds or something, then
Yeah.
add that and make it believable.
That temptation is real though, man. Like seriously, when you
Oh,
have the power and you're looking at it and you're like, you know what? You know, this sky really could use some birds in it. You know, I could do it. It only takes 2 seconds to drag them in there, and no one will know, but they'll think I caught them. You know, it's just you got to fight that urge because it's definitely real, and I've been there. I've gone down
right.
the path of how much crap can I throw in my shot. You know, I want this sky, I want this foreground, I want to make it crunchy HDR, I want to do all this stuff. And it's
Right.
funny, you show
Right.
a shot like that to a non-photographer or to someone who's, you know, just looking at a shot and they just see pretty colors and it's always like, "Oh, wow, this is amazing. This is great," which fuels you to do it even more incorrectly, right?
Freaking kills me to see that stuff on people's YouTube. I mean, on their Instagram feeds, as if that's a normal wedding photo. Like
Yeah.
there is no way that that's real. But look at what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have time for that.
But if somebody buys it, then they win, right? So,
Right. That justifies their craziness. I know.
yeah.
I know.
Yep. So, all right, Armando, thank you for this shot. Thank you very much. Moving right along, Nora Zanotinus. She calls this one Winter Ice.
I love this. This is so cool. I love
Yeah.
Norris. It's always so abstract, and it just makes me look at it a lot and try to figure out what's going on. So, have to have her talk about some of her images someday on one of the hangouts.
Yeah, you should beg her to come on and do a, have her do a talk for F64
Oh yeah.
or for IEPPV or something.
Oh, ooh. Okay. All right. Note made. Good.
That'd be
Uh,
awesome.
to this image, I really enjoy the colors and sort of the fractals that are going on in there. Um, I I'm not a huge fan of vertical images unless they need to be vertical on purpose, just because of the real estate that they take up. I think that if we went horizontal, it would give me more for my eye to kind of search through, right? Like reading left to right, and that's just a small visual thing. Like if I was going to hang this on the wall, I would definitely hang it horizontally. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but you know, Nora chose to show it vertically, so I respect that. And I really enjoy this. I think it's fantastic. The color palette, the some of the muted tones. We don't have any crazy blown highlights. We don't have any traps in the corners to take us out of the frame. The edges are soft and a little bit darker, so it keeps us in the center. This is one of those really wonderful abstract images that you can just look at for a long time and discover patterns and things in there. Looks like
Hmm.
wings of a butterfly or something, maybe.
Yeah, and I like the color palette she chose. I thought you were going to say something about it would have been so much better in black and white. And I was prepared to disagree with you because I like the kind of I like the little, what is it, more kind of like a cyan splash in there, color treatment. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
On the orientation of the shot. The I think I would like to see it horizontal, but if it was horizontal and big, if it was horizontal, would you rotate it clockwise or counterclockwise? Should it go with
Counter.
gravity? Because I've counterclockwise, you would.
Yeah, I want those spires to reach down like stalactites, right? Like
But then the
stalagmites almost.
drips of water, if someone figures out that those are drips of water, then they'd be flowing upward.
Nobody's gonna discover anything. It's ice. It's frozen water. It's not flowing. Well, technically it is flowing, but it's not
Right, just
flowing.
very slowly.
It's abstract. So, and the whole time right now, Nora's shaking her head. She's like, I made it vertical on purpose.
Yeah, yeah, and these are the reasons why. So,
Yeah.
no, I dig it. This is cool. Very cool. Thank you, Nora. Appreciate that. All right. Moving on. Oh, and Stephen and Low Base Guy. Yeah. So yeah, the notification didn't go out. I don't know why it didn't go out. I think I know why. So, but I'll troubleshoot why that didn't go out. I think because I pre-scheduled. Let me move this over here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I think because I pre-scheduled all of the events inside the community and pre-built all of the YouTube events to stream into. And I think there's some kind of weirdness with Mighty Networks in how if you pre-build an event, whether or not it notifies the people that are, I don't know. There's some stuff that I need to work out. So just know that I am aware that you did not get notified, and Detective Johnson is on the case. All right, moving right along. Jim Peters is up next. Jim says, for the open critique, Lost Marbles, where are we? All right, let's take a look.
I'm waiting for Mighty sometimes
Yeah,
takes. There you go.
yeah. There we go.
Nice.
All right, abstract. We have an abstract shot. What do you think?
We do. I wish so. Right away, my worry is that one, it's not in focus. That front marble doesn't look in focus, and the lighting throughout the image is kind of flat. So I mean, it's we don't have like a directional highlight like this marble, then this one, so we don't look through the scene. We have that depth of focus, which is really nice. Because the bokeh in the back is really shallow, and that's wonderful. And the color palette's kind of nice, but that front marble is not sharp, and that kind of bums me out. And then I
Yeah.
feel like it's tilted. The horizon is tilted as well.
Mm, mm. So this shot is really bugging you. I can see this is gonna bug.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it does. This is the kind of image that I struggle with when I look at it, because I can see immediately, oh, if that marble was in focus, then I would have something to work with. So that's a struggle. And then why we have this really strong highlight in the marble but not reflected in the glass. I mean, that's possible. It just seems odd to me. So something's going on there. Like maybe these were, I don't know if those reflections were made. Um
Hmm.
doesn't it
I don't
Yeah,
think so. I think those are real. I feel like those are real.
but we should have a highlight at the bottom of the marble reflected. It should be the same. We should see that highlight that's at the bottom of the
Oh,
marble.
you're right. You are right. Yeah. Hmm.
The other two
All right.
highlights are reflected, and they should
Yeah,
be
we're gonna
reflected.
need some clarification.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, something it's off. It's just off. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting.
I know he's
The
using that
my
lens.
my only comment was the horizon. I knew you were gonna pick up on that. I didn't initially notice the sharpness because I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at it zoomed in. I'm looking at it as the stream goes. Um, I would have liked to see it punched in the horizon straight. And I'm not a big fan of that white marble or whatever that is in the background. Like that one's distracting me because it's bright and it's out of focus and it's more colorful than the rest. But it's teasing me
Right.
because it kind of looks like a face back there, and I'm like, what? Why is that there? Why is it there? I want to see the other ones, the heroes. I want to use that real estate and see them closer. Punch in, get rid of that one, and then punch in. Unless there's some sort of, if this is an illustration for some story or something, and that one's critical to the story, then that would make sense. But if it's just abstract, just give me the two marbles and maybe even separate them more. So the one in the background is a little bit more blurry. Fix that horizon, crop in closer, and boom, we got it.
And this is a great exercise in many, many things, depth of field, lighting, color harmony. So much of that stuff is happening. If you were ever to go back and recreate this, try to get three marbles that are different tones,
Hmm.
and then go from lighter to darker and darker to lighter, and see how it helps you read through the frame. That's really what's happening here. There's a lot of confusion, as Steven says in the chat. He's having cognitive dissonance with this photo.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, look at that. Right over
Yep.
our faces. How's that for cognitive dissonance?
You can still see me a little bit, but somehow that S lined up perfectly.
It's like I couldn't have planned that. You. It's an S for shut up. Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, it's just, yeah. So those any other further comments? What about color wise? Would you have left color in this one, or would it be better kind of as a contrasty monochromatic shot?
Uh, it's hard to say. I mean, this image is basically purple. Everything in it's purple.
Yeah.
So the color really isn't playing a huge part at this point.
Yep. Well, cool. All right. Moving right along. Who was that?
Jim,
That was Jim Peters. Thank you, Jim. Next up is Craig Stampley, Mixie. This looks like an infrared shot.
it is.
Let's bring it up. I don't know why Mighty's going slow today. All right, cool. All right, you're the infrared patient zero, aka contagion, in the group.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
tell us, what do you think?
as far as infrared goes, this is really wonderful. I think that I know that Craig had to do some work on the eyes, because the eyes usually go really weird with infrared. So had to do a little bit of adjustment to the eyes to kind of bring the iris out and to make it look a little bit more natural. Otherwise, they go kind of dark. But I love the glow that infrared has. Where I struggle with on this image a little bit is the mask of the face is really bright, and then immediately at the edge of her face it falls off to darker. And I
Mm,
feel like we need a little bit more blend in the way the light would fall off her face, and then her neck, and then her shoulders, things like that. I think what I'm getting at is, I think Craig probably either brought up her face or took down the rest of the image, and that's great, but it feels a little bit unnatural. But I
mm-hmm.
do love the portrait. I love the engagement with the eyes, the
Yep.
relaxed lips. Yeah, yeah, really, really beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the values in the face are a little bit too bright. I think those should be pushed back a little bit to be the face pushed back a little bit, and the neck slash shoulders brought up a little bit to be more in line with each other. I see what he was doing though. The whole photo is about the face, so let's bring the face out a little bit. But I feel like if the face is lit too much or brought up too much, it starts looking like those people that put on makeup and you can see the line around the neck, where where.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what happened here? Where'd we go?
Oh,
Hang on,
what did
hang
we
on.
do?
I don't know. I'm doing something over here. Um, oh, that's interesting. That tab just closed by itself for no reason. Interesting.
Oh, because Craig was upset that we were critiquing his image. He's just like, nope, I've had enough.
Craig has hacked my machine, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring this back up.
Oh,
Here we
yeah.
go.
Yeah,
There
but
we
in
go. Boom.
images like this, knowing that the light is off to the right, there should be more shadow I'm guessing more shadow camera left on her face, and it looks like a lot of that's been sort of tuned out. Her right shoulder is the same darkness. I feel like there's maybe a little bit too heavy handed in the dodging and the burning, and
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit more natural transition in that light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless it's just his creative license and he just decided like, hey, I like it this way. Great,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I like these. I like this feels like a series of shots. Like if there were a grid of 18 that were shot this way, kind of very clean head and shoulders, black and white, with shot in infrared and processed the same way. That would be a really cool installation to see a grid of
Hmm.
people that are all related in some way, like whether they're models or females or some ethnicity or from some company or something like that are all together done the same way.
Right, right,
That would be
right.
cool. All
Yeah,
right.
great use of infrared though. It's not easy to do and it's not done a lot. So Craig's really kind of going into uncharted territories there to play with that.
Yeah, for sure. And the first time I saw, maybe not the first time, but one of the first times I saw a infrared shot or infrared used in a portraiture context was from Peter Levshan. Where he did a bunch of. I think I interviewed him about this, but he did a bunch of shots of who were those tribesmen, those tribes people that had the tattoos that were kind of subdermal and you couldn't see them unless or they look different under infrared because certain levels or layers of the skin reflect light differently, so they look like
Yeah, I
different
don't know
kinds
where
of
that was.
tattoos. Do you remember that shot though? You remember those
Mm,
shots?
yeah, they had all the tattoo lines on their face.
Yeah, yeah, that one. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Yep.
remember. I can make up names like, Burma and Papua New Guinea and things like that. I know he's been to all those places, but I have no idea where those women were.
Peter must be going crazy not being able to travel right now for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Steven says Papua New Guinea. Yeah. Yep. Thank you. All right. Moving right along. Michael Coutts is up next. He says, really starting to pull this technique together. Had too much fun on this shoot. Almost almost burned my beard off my face. Yeah, that's not fun. All right, let's bring that up.
His
Yeah,
dad
he
is
said I asked him in the critique, or not in the critique, in the comments for this image to describe how he did it. He said he would share during our Friday member mixer. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what's going on here. What do you think's happening here, Troy?
it's well, I know what it is. So maybe I shouldn't reveal the secret, but it's a fire device in the background. Like a sword or something like that he's waving. So
Hmm.
and so you balance it with the light.
So is this a composite? Do you think
Right.
he created the background and put her in there, or just kind of faded out behind her and that corrugated whatever that is, that wall, and then behind her masked in the fire, or what did it all happen?
I think it would be one long exposure. So you set the shutter speed for the light for the ambient light and make sure that shutter speed so you can go in there with your fire device.
Mm, okay, okay. Fire device. That sounds so ominous. All right, cool. So, what are your thoughts on the shot? Would you? Oh, oh.
um,
Oh, am I looking at the wrong one? Hold on. Let's see. This was. Is this in the critique? No, this is show and tell. I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay, I'm in the wrong spot. Sorry about that. Thank you, Troy. Troy's talking to me separately because that browser closed. I ended up in the wrong spot. Let's go back here. Sort
I
by
was
date
I'm
created.
desperately looking on my side, like I can't see the image very well because I can see.
So we did this one. We were supposed to be here. This is where we are. Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Back to the natural world. Karen Sweeney's natural world. This is her entry for open. A nuthatch catches the morning light. Let's take a look. Look at that. That's more like it.
Yeah. That's just it's just so nice. I love these subtle colors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the earth tones, and it's so wonderful. And then the lighting treatment on this is really great too. Like I can see it starts in the face, around the eyes, the tip of the beak are sharp, even the tip of the tail feathers are sharp. So
Yeah.
the whole surface of the bird is sharp, and then the light leads us through the scene. No
Yep.
distracting elements in the background. um I I dig it. I mean, right away my brain starts looking for all the things. Like, where's the light? Where's the light coming from? Where am I looking?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I haven't got tripped up yet. So now I'm just gonna look at the pretty aviary
Yep.
or is it aviary? No, that's a thing that they're the pretty
Yeah,
bird.
that's just a very fresh chicken McNugget right there.
I dub this bird Petey. I call this
Yeah.
bird Petey. If
I
anybody didn't
call
know.
him sweet and sour. That's what I call.
Oh no.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I like the shot too. I like it. This one very much feels like uh, a timeless painting, right? So this could be printed huge,
Right.
small, hung on the wall with a big ornate frame or a simplistic black frame with a mat, without a
Mhm.
mat, printed on metal, and it's just gonna look good. It's gonna stand on the merits of the subject and the processing that the artist captured. So yeah, I love this shot. It's really nice.
Yeah, lots of details you can see, even the fine details in the feathers on the body of the bird, which is really wonderful. I think this is a type of image that I would experiment with fine art, inkjet printing. On some kind of fine art paper, maybe something that's slightly textured. I
Mm.
think it would give it more of a timeless, like out of a book, type of thing.
Would this look good on that Japanese paper that you're experimenting with right now?
Yes, probably anything looks good on that paper, on the washi paper.
Yeah, the washi
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah. Yeah, it would. No, no. It's see, so for me, like I look at this thing and I'm like, it doesn't need to be shiny and glossy and sparkly like some images. This is more of like, a study of what these birds are and this beautiful portrait. And I can just see it in a little bit softer palette and on a slightly textured paper, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's very well done. Very well done.
I agree.
Karen.
I agree. I love the muted colors. The colors are muted but still vibrant. So yeah,
Right. Yeah, we know what they are.
intentional.
Yeah.
I like it. Like it. Very cool. All right, Karen Sweeney coming out swinging. Like it. All right, Ernest is up next. He says this is for open, one light, one bounce, one model, one look. All the best. It's amazing what you can do in one light, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. One light source. Technically, this
One light
is.
source. Yes, one light source. You can
Yeah.
bounce it around and make as many as you
Bounce.
want, but one light source.
Yeah. Yeah, the bounce is technically a light, but yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, my favorite thing about this image is her pinky finger. I I love little subtleties in photographs like that feel sort of like breaking the pattern, right? Like if her hand had been perfect, um, it would have been too controlled for me. And I love the fact that her pinky finger is bent.
Hmm.
Probably wouldn't do great in like a national competition. They would pick on that, saying that you should fix that. But that to me makes it more human. I really like
Mhm.
that a lot.
So from a competition standpoint, because those guys get really nitpickery, right?
Right.
About
Yep.
every little detail. This detail right here, see where I'm looking? Right here,
Yep.
which
The
is
earring.
which is the other earring peeking through. How would that
Mhm.
fare? Should the artist, is it fine as is? Should the artist remove that, or should the artist have turned her head a little bit more to see more of it so that we could get a little bit more indication that it's the mirroring earring?
I would have taken that out. It doesn't if it doesn't serve a purpose, if it doesn't help to the story or tell the story, I would take it out.
Hmm.
So definitely just clean that up a little bit. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, and it helps to the image. The only other thing that I would add to this image, and we've talked about it a little bit with like Craig's, is where is the light falling, and how are you using your dodging and burning abilities with this? So, on our subject's forehead, and I can see right above the left eye,
Mm-hmm.
her, yeah, her left eye, our camera right. There's a a bunch of dots. There were some there was some cloning work being done, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, like right there.
right
Yep.
there. Yeah, I just saw it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I see that. Yep. What you're gonna
but some
see. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say some highlight control. You know, the subject's forehead, that's where the main light probably is coming in. And on our subject's left ear, camera right, it's really hot. And the mask of the face is what we want to see. So either use a scrim to block the light on that part of the face, or just burn it down in post a little bit. Just bring it down.
Hmm. Where do
Yeah.
you know from a portrait photographer, a veteran portrait photographer, you've been shooting for a couple of decades, right? So where do you fall on the multiple light versus single light with reflector? I don't want to say argument, but directions.
I think that you should always start with the simplest setup to get what you want to get. So, you know, you don't need three or four lights if you're going for a portrait like this. One light and a reflector is more than enough. So, there's no right way. It's just use the minimum amount of equipment that you need to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Um, an image like this doesn't need a hair light, doesn't need an edge light, you know, doesn't need any of those things. You don't need a snoot. You don't need grids. You don't need that. This is very simple. Window light and a reflector, even, you know, would work great for stuff like this. So
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. I'm always curious about that because you see some photographers that are just going to town with a little using a million lights. Got to put a little splash of light right here on the hair at the top. Got to this here, this there. Got a backlight. Got a hair light. Got a main light. Got a fill light. Got this. And then I see other photographers like Tim Engel, for example. He can work miracles with no lights and a mirror,
mhm.
just reflecting
Right.
light from outside onto the subject. So,
Sure, and that just comes down to what's your goal. You know, if you want to do this portrait and it's really important to you that you have some sort of specular highlight or some sort of backlight on, say, your subject's right side, because you could throw light on her shoulder, the back side of the subject's right side of the face, camera left. That requires another light, right? Another light source. So it's just really what's your vision? What are you
hmm
trying to accomplish? And I think that's really the important part is ask yourself, what am I creating? What is my goal? And then what kind of light do I need for that? Don't go into with an arsenal and then think I have to use all my lights. Start with the subject in your final product first, and then add lights to the scene as you need them.
yeah, we should do a whole little thing on that because there's I don't know, there's a lot of information, disinformation, and just plain old creative differences floating around out there that
Sure.
people will take as law. Well, Rembrandt means this. I gotta shoot with this, this, and this. I gotta turn the head like this. I gotta, all that. When all that's just out the window, like Ernest did with this shot. It's a beautiful shot, and
Mhm.
he didn't really pay attention to any of the rules, and it looks fantastic. So yeah,
Yeah.
we should
Yeah.
put something like that together. I think that's important.
Yeah. I think people tend to overlight, honestly. I just think across the board, people tend to overlight. So, you know, just use only what you need.
Love it, and that's cheaper too. So,
Yeah. But beautiful image, Ernest. I love it. Double check the face. There's a couple little cloning tracks I can see. I can see some duplicated textures and things going on your subject's face. So make sure that you check those
yeah,
really
yeah,
closely.
very cool. All right. Next up is Michael Coutts, Satin Doll. Let's take a look. Look at that. Wow.
Nice.
That's
Yeah, this is
cool.
this is very much Michael's style. Very dark, muted highlights, dark shadows, and I, edgy and sharp. And I like that. And what it does, it simplifies the overall image, so we're not too distracted, you know, by outside highlights and things. So I really love that. The mask of her face, we're really drawn into that, and then the tattoos on the back of her hand,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
nicely done. Yeah,
And you're like this is not strictly a portrait, but from a photograph of a person standpoint, the muted tones and the darkness. When I first look at the shot, I love the pose. I love the ink. The beautiful woman. I love everything about the shot. But then I'm thinking, man, I want that face and at least the hand area to be up. just a little bit. Turn the knob to the right just a little bit. I don't know. Maybe a splash in her eyes to bring those out just a little bit. I just feel like I'm getting lost a little bit because there's a lot of detail in her body with all the ink on her body, and then up to her face where she's looking, which arguably is the subject. It's around the same kind of, maybe a little bit lighter. I don't know. What do you think? Am I crazy? Well, yes, I know that,
No.
but
Yeah, I think the natural thing for us is that we want to see a full tonal range image, and I don't think that that was the creator's intent. And so I try to look at this image and then think, oh, this is what I want. But I think this was done on purpose. So let's try to stay within those confines. And I think that I'm pretty sure Michael does this on purpose. Is he likes those dark muted highlights. Um, and the one thing that I don't know for sure, and I'm going to assume, is her hands are brighter than actually the mask of her face. So I
hmm
would say that her hands are the subject, the primary subject, right? The primary hook, and then her face is secondary.
hmm.
And if it's not that way, or that wasn't the intent, then just be aware of, for the maker, be aware of where those highlights are and where it draws our attention.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
Really the only other thing I see in this image is on camera right next to her left arm, right against her chest, we have this highlight that runs along her arm, and that's very unnatural.
Right here,
In
you
that
mean?
I know there's to a little bit more to the right, the right side of her arm, right where it goes against her chest. See
Oh,
that
down in
right
here?
there?
Yeah.
Yep. There's no light coming out from underneath her arm to cause that. So it should
Mm.
be that highlight line, that gradient, right, should be properly darkened. And what probably happened is it was either dodged or burned down a lot, and it just didn't get close enough to the arm to do that.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very easy to fix.
Yeah, the only
But
the only other comment I have on this shot is I agree with you with what you said. For sure. I didn't even consider that the hands could be the subject. I always automatically think the face. If the face is in the shot, it's going to be the subject. But looking at the face, one of the things that just me as a creative type person that enjoys photographing people, I just don't like shooting up people's noses. I don't, and it like when I see YouTube videos where the host has got the camera at a low angle shooting up the nose, or
no,
TV or whatever, it just drives me crazy. Just like, do I really have to see your 2-car garage right now? Do I really have
right.
to see? So, but in this case, it's not bothering me, because it's obviously part of the pose and it's supposed to be like that, and it's not egregious. We don't see any detail in her nose or anything, so it's working. It definitely works here. But as a general rule for me, especially for women, I'm generally shooting straight forward or slightly at a downward angle so that I'm not showing any nostril or inside the nose or anything like that. Do you like, how do you, as a portrait guy, where do you fall on that?
Yeah, I would never shoot like this. I mean, this is a very artistic and very, creative fashion style type look. I mean, this is not something that a bride wants to see. And so, I avoid that. I mean, traditionally this isn't the direction that you want to shoot.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where the rule, so you can break the rule and then do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's great about this. My only other suggestion to this image would be, um, I would have had her open her eyes a little bit unnaturally wide so that from our angle we could have seen a little bit more of her eyes. And then try this shot with a really shallow depth of field lens. Focus on the hands and let the lips and the nose and the eyes and everything fall out of focus behind that. It would look really insane. I think it would look
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shallow. I like shallow. Shallow,
Yep.
shallow.
I like it. Very cool. All right. Thank you, Coutts, for that shot. Very nice. Moving right along, Lamb is up next. Lamb says, my entry for the theme opened, and the title is Break Time. I hope it's not too late. No, it's not too late.
Break time. Yeah, the last one he had boots drying on like rebar or posts or something.
Uh huh.
I like
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
theme.
We're getting it. We're building the picture of a week in the life of Lamb.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, this is fun. I mean, this is a fun shot. This is a, I don't want to use the term snapshot. It's more intentional than that. But there's so many things going on in here that I think getting in tighter would make it more creative and a little bit more mysterious. You know, a trowel underwater with the ripple and, you know, just the shadows of it or something, you know, would help us. There's so many things happening here. It's kind of like a documentary of that moment. I do like all the horizontal or the angular lines though, you know, the way that it was shot. It wasn't shot square. So I appreciate the angle of the concrete. This looks like a sink or like a wash trough or something like that. So did I lose audio? I see the mouse moving. Okay, this is just how the day's going to go, isn't it? Steven, can you tell me whether or not you can hear me and Frederick or both of us? You can hear me, but you can't hear Fred. Oh, yeah, Frederick, it sounded like you used your cough button and it never turned off.
All right, can you hear me now? How about that? Okay, there we go. All right, we're back. Wait, now you're muted, Troy. Say something.
I'm saying something.
Okay, you're good. All right, we're good. All right. All right, we're back. Sorry about that.
Is that what it was?
Wait, Troy. Wait, Steven says now he can't hear either of us. Like, how is that even possible?
Maybe there's
You
a
can
delay.
you can hear me. Yeah, there's probably a delay. Yeah, that's the delay. All right,
Hear you.
let's press forward. Yeah, that was yeah. Okay, he can hear us again. Good. All right. All right, so what I was saying before I so rudely cut me off was this area up here in the corner, normally you say that that's a trap and you want to get rid of that trap. What do you think?
Correct. Yeah, I think the hero of this image is that brass colored faucet. I love that. I think to me that's the hero of this shot.
Really? Huh. Yeah. I think there's multiple shots in here. I think you could go with a shot up here, like just sort of outlining the spigot with the ripples in the water, and just crop it right there and make that your story. Or, like you were saying, you could go with the trowel down here and make that your story, or crop in a little bit and have both of them in there. I don't know, but yeah, I don't see this as a snapshot. I think this looks intentional. This could be, depending on how you process it, it could go in a number of different directions. That black abyss underneath the faucet there is a little bit distracting though, because I get lost in there and I start thinking, what's in there? Why can't I see in there? Oh, there's ripples, so clearly the water's there. I can kind of figure out the geometry of what's happening there, but there's no data there to help me out. So I get trapped longer than I should in that little black abyss.
Right. Right. No, I agree. Yeah, yeah. A lot of cool stuff going on in there.
Yep. Yep. Cool. All right, Lamb. Thank you. We spent a lot of time on that as we sorted our audio issues. And Steven's saying I'm loud. All right. Well, I'm always significant. No, that's low bass guy. But I am always significantly louder than Troy. that's just the way it is. Let's see. Stephen Sharf says genre photojournalism up close and personal with Team Suzuki writer Ben Spies. Uh, pronounced Spies. Okay, Spies. While he's at the office exiting turn 2 Andretti hairpin at Laguna Seca during the Superbike race. Let's take a look.
Nice.
No, that's Tack Sharf right there. Yes, Steve.
Sharp.
And Steven, I know. We know Sharf means sharp. He's going to say that. He's about to type it. And now he's smiling and nodding. Yes.
Yep. Yep. I love this shot. I really appreciate the sense of motion and speed. I'm also okay with the fact that the lines on the road itself are not perfectly horizontal, right? Like this is a turn. It gives a sense that he's going uphill, which works perfect for this. It's not like a landscape where you gotta really keep everything nice and level because even though we're on a globe, horizons are level.
Mm-hmm.
And the wheels showing motion in the wheels, but yet it's sharp all the way down, to the lettering on the back swing arm and the front set of forks. It's sharp all the way through, which is perfect, which is exactly what you need. And kudos to Steven because it shows a lot of skill to create this. They come by really fast. This happens really fast, and you're panning at the same time. So good job.
Yeah, I'm curious how many photos were taken to get this shot. Like just as a matter of technique, are you just on continuous high and these guys go whizzing by and you start your pan and just let it rip following them and letting the quote targeting computer keep your focus locked on these guys as you pan through, just kind of concentrating on composition, and then you go back and harvest and find the right shots? Or is it more you wait for them to hit a spot on the track and fire when you've got them where you want them? Like what's how does that work?
It's Steven says it was the first example, which makes sense. It depends on where you are on a turn or on a straight or something. So let's say this is a sweeping turn where you're sort of in the center of the apex and the distance of the track is the same, as you pan. Well, then you can be picky because your focus isn't going to change much, right?
Yeah.
But if they're coming through an S curve or a chicane or something where you're only in a part of the turn and their distance from you changes the entire time, then you've got to really just rely on your your settings of your camera, proper aperture for depth of field, focus tracking. Like there's everything changes. So
Yeah. Yeah, what a technique. And Low Bass Guy is saying you're really quiet. I brought your audio up on this side.
okay.
Hopefully that'll fix it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
My
you, Steven
meters say
Sharp.
I'm doing okay, but
Yeah, we know how
who
meters are.
knows? Every time
They've
we
been
stream, who
lying.
knows?
His gremlins are having their way with us.
I
Oh,
know.
all right, Mark. Thank you, Steven. That was an awesome shot. Thank you for sharing that. Mark Harris is up next. He says, for the open topic of blue heron hiding in the grasses at Oros Preserve in Woodridge, New Jersey. I was told by others that this bird was there. Took me walking by 3 times before I finally spotted.
Nice.
Before I spotted it. He shot this with a 150 to 600. Let's take a look.
Yep. Yeah, they birds in general, they have this bubble that if you get in the bubble, they leave. And they know you're there. So that's why long lenses are really nice because you got to stay outside that bubble. I don't have a 600, I only have a 400, which seems to be in their bubble in order to get a good shot. So I don't really chase a lot of birds
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
leave.
they do.
But this is great. And I like the idea that the eye is not hidden behind the grass, right? I mean, just the tiniest bit of movement, we would have lost that eye.
Yep, right
So
there. You know, this shot reminds me of an old guy standing with his back to us with a gray overcoat. He's kind of hunched over.
yeah, herons always look grumpy. They always look really grumpy. They're grumpy when they fly because they squawk at you. The way they walk, they just look grumpy. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They do. Get off
Yep.
my lawn.
Um, yeah. Get off my lawn. Yeah. I'm not so sure about the crop. I think this is okay to crop it so that, they're overall centered. I don't think we need space. The bird's not flying into that space, although, he's looking to the left. It really isn't necessary to leave that space. So I think we could tighten it up.
Yeah.
But and good job on focusing through all the tall grass. That's not easy to do. And
Oh yeah, I
autofocus
didn't
usually
even think
doesn't like
about that.
that.
Yeah, that's yeah. See, this is one of those shots. What did he say he shot this with? What was the camera? Did he put that in here? Just the lens. Because I was gonna say on the micro four thirds system, as opposed to a full frame system, um, the different contrasts versus what's the focusing system on your camera on the Nikons?
There's phase detection and then
Phase
there's
detection. That's what I was
contrast.
looking for. Yeah. So phase detection versus the micro four thirds system. Micro four thirds would have been struggling for this. The bird would have been in Texas by the time you got to focus on the spot. Yeah. If
Yeah.
you were trying to do it, if you're trying to do autofocus, this is definitely a micro four thirds manually focusing situation.
Yeah.
Although the newer the updated firmware and some of the newer cameras do have animal detection in there, and it's weirdly accurate when it detects an animal. So it knows what's
Yeah.
versus, well, humans are animals too, but it knows what a non-human life form is versus a human life form. It's really cool.
Right.
So
Right.
it may
I
it
think
may
Mark
get this. Who
right.
knows?
Good
All
job.
right,
Good job, Mark.
Mark and his angry heron hanging out. The grumpy. All right, Thomas Tom Buckout is up next. He says, as I quote Michael Buffer, let's get ready to rumble. A friend slash ex coworker is into boxing and wanted some pictures of her practicing slash working out. So I figured it might be a good opportunity to take, where is it? Take the R5 out for a spin, the Canon R5. All right, let's take a look. All right, let's see if I can know what Troy's gonna say about this shot. All right, you go for it, Troy. What do you think?
That damn light, right, right above her face.
That one,
Those are the
yeah.
kind of things that you just got to see first and wait, move around and wait to get a shot where that thing isn't in the way. I love her expression, the hand pose, the everything going on. Like you can see the sweat. Something's happening. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that background is so distracting, and these are not the most ideal places to photograph. So you kind of got to just be really careful and move around a lot. But I do enjoy the action shot of this.
Yeah, I agree on the light issue for sure. It looks like, I don't know if it's intentional, but it looks like a light vignette around the edge of the image. Do you see that? Especially down here at the bottom. That's
Yeah, I do. And
it's distracting me a little bit, especially because there's detail down here and it's obscuring our heroes. So I probably would have cropped up, or I definitely would have cropped up more to get rid of that area if it's not intentional. To get rid of that area, and even if it is intentional, it's distracting down at the bottom. So punch in a little
yeah, I
bit
think we
there.
have two. Yeah, I think we have two things happening. I think that we have a positive vignette where you're adding lighter, vignetting to the edges, which I don't think is good. I think you should almost always darken those to keep us into the frame. But also, I think what's going on across the bottom is that's probably the rope. I'm guessing that you're picking up just the bottom of the rope that you're looking through right into the
Hmm.
ring, and so you're going to get that out of focus sort of lower flare. So right, crop that out and do a darkening vignette around the outside. Really will draw us into our subjects.
Yep, yep, I agree. Very cool. All right.
Fun.
Fun, fun. Thank you, Thomas. And thank you for participating in the critiques. It's good to have you in the community.
Yeah.
Raphael, Timber
We haven't
Geek
scared him
Swift
off
is up
yet.
next. What's that?
Sorry. Oh, and I said we haven't scared Tom off yet. So he
No,
got
he's
into the
still
community,
here.
started submitting.
We got to get him into the mixers. Postmodern Sunrise, and this is from Raphael Timber Geek Swift. He says, my entry for open is an image that appeared before me one morning and demanded to be recorded. He's demanding images. They just don't know their place. All right. Look at this. Abstract for sure, right?
Yes, yes. I'm guessing that, we're looking like from like the kitchen or something, right? With there's a countertop and maybe some things on the countertop, and the window is off in the distance over there. And I really love the feel of this. I'm distracted, however, by how bright the foreground is, especially the right out of focus part. Um, Maybe bring that down just enough that it doesn't compete with the window. You know, if you
Because that's our
hold your hand
subject.
up, yeah, I mean, if you hold your hand up and just block the left side of the window frame, right, get rid of that bright out of focus part, it immediately feels better because you don't have
Yeah.
that overly powerful it's not really a highlight, but a bright area.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm holding my hand up. Yep.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool shot though.
I love these open topic critiques because they,
Yeah.
you know, they're so creative. You never know what's going to come. And that was Raphael. Thank you. What do you think about the square crop or is it squares? No, it's kind of
Mostly
tall.
square.
It's portrait. It's mostly square.
Yeah, I
You like
like
the
it.
crop?
I like square. Yeah, I do. I like square. I mean,
Cool.
I shot square for 15 years, so square is in my DNA now.
Nice. You shot square. What did you shoot? What were you shooting?
I shot Hasselblad. That's how I started. I shot weddings for 15 years on Hasselblad. So
Wow.
I love
Yeah.
square. Square is awesome. You don't have to choose.
Square is awesome. Square is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's simple.
All right, Michael Rhino's up next. He says, my entry for this week's open category is this photo from last night that was taken just before the Friday night TWiP member mixer. This is our German
Oh, cool.
Shepherd at a nearby lake that is currently, wait for it, about 80% frozen over. All right.
Nice.
All right. What a portrait. I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
love
I
that.
love
Yeah.
it.
This is a cool shot. How can you critique a dog? It's hard to critique animals.
Well, here's the tough thing, right? Like pets, flowers, kids, they're cute and they're adorable no matter what light you put them in. So you have to make sure that you can add to, what they are. Um, I tend to think that with pet portraits, the goal is to get them to look at the camera and try to shoot from their eye level or lower because I'm assuming like in this one, the dog is looking up at its owner or somebody, and that's a very common way for dogs to behave, right? They're looking up. They look up at us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I would love to have had, and I wish I knew what the dog's name was. I would use it. Would be looking at the camera a little bit more, right? And then compositionally, I would just suggest that if you're going to want the sun in the background, put your lit subject in the darker part of the sky. And so, right now having that sun right behind them, it's distracting. It doesn't really add anything to the photo.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
It does. It does. It goes back to what we always talk about is, who's the hero of your subject and everyone else. All other pixels are in service of the hero or the story of the photo.
Right. 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 Yeah. It's a fun shot. I love these kind of shots, and they're wonderful to photograph. And he's got this amazing background to play with. If you have a sunset like this, try to go for silhouettes. Um, lighting your subject in the foreground and putting your background like that with that sunset, it feels to me, I get this sense of artificialness. Imagine when you light your subject that you're lighting them as if it was supernatural, right? Maybe there was not supernatural as in what we think of as supernatural, but I mean like very, very natural lighting.
Yeah. Would you have like what when it comes to animals like this? What's your rule of thumb on the pose, quote, the pose of the animal? Like in this one, we're cutting off the limbs and just kind of concentrating on the upper part of the dog and the face and the environment. Would you have pulled back a little bit, use a longer lens, or are you good with a crop like this?
I would have used a longer lens or a lens with a wider aperture for shallower depth of field to start with. There's no need for the background to be sharp at all.
Okay.
And then I think the same rules apply. You got to think of like the face and the shoulders and the chest, and then you get into the legs. And I think it's crop perfect for a 3/4 for an animal. I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Where we cut off, I just think we need to push in, get rid of that dead space vertically and horizontally, and um, maybe just bring the background down a bit. But
Yeah. Yeah.
try this. Michael, try this kind of shot with like an 85 1.4 and a small LED light panel, and just shoot naturalish light and looking at the camera, moving around, walking. Let the background go. Let it fall out. It doesn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. All right.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Thank you, Michael Rhino, for that. Next up is Michael Brown. Michael says, I've already shared this one, but I figured I'd share it for a critique as well. Always good to hear feedback. I agree.
Nice.
Look at that. See, there's another one of these just like tack sharp birds, cute birds, just kind of hanging out. Look at that.
Yep. I think I'm putting my hand up. I think that with subjects like this, I think it's okay to center them. We don't really have conflicting horizons or things like that. Oh, you brought me up, didn't you? I'm like, but it's valid, right? Like you need to be able to see. Well, I need to be able to see it. And then also, if you close one eye and look at something, it completely changes the way that your brain interprets that image. So, but I love the shallow depth of field. I'm so glad that the birds, the main body of the bird, the face, the eyes, looks like the beak is mostly in focus. Like I'm really glad for that. That really makes the difference in the image.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Just like I say, punching in tighter, make all those pixels work. And again, the square. I'm digging the square crops. The square is really cool. I like it.
Yeah, whatever's going on in that top left-hand corner, that flower or that piece that's trying to sneak into the frame, that guy's got to go.
Yeah,
That's making
that's a
me
click
itch.
away. Yeah, it is totally.
I'm like,
Get that out of there.
yeah.
All right. All right. Well, very cool. And then our next shot, and that was Michael Brown. Thank you, Michael Brown. Michael DeRay. All these Michaels. How many? Is that 3 Michaels in a row? That's Michael Rhino, Michael Brown, and Michael DeRay, I guess.
Yeah, nice.
Cypress Swamp reduced down from an 80 megapixel RAW file, so it would fit. Thank you. We appreciate that. Let's take a look. All right. Still loading. Okay, here we go. All right. Waiting to see Swamp Thing come up out of there.
I know. I really like this a lot. This is really great. I think it needs to be black and white. Immediately I go to black and white because I can see that we have all these highlights behind these patterns, right? The trees. And so black and white would be really nice. And then that flare that we have off on the left, I'm not totally sure about keeping that. Might crop that out. I have to see what it looks like in black and white because the greenish cyan color kind of draws us in just a bit. But yeah, I got to watch that flare. Oftentimes when I'm shooting, when I'm shooting, if I see flare, if you just stick your hand out, you can oftentimes keep your hand out of the frame and get rid of that flare.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 When I look at this shot, you know what I think? I like the reflection. First of all, I think Swamp Thing, of course, because who wouldn't? But then I think, what would this look like inverted and then cropped about right here,
Mhm.
right? So that these are
Yeah.
shooting down, and then these are your subjects. So that's making whoever looks at it, it's gonna just, just a little subliminal confusion there, and you'll have to figure it out, and then go, oh, okay, I get it. It's upside down. I
Right.
think
Right.
symmetry like
I,
this and these reflections kind of call for that experimentation.
yep.
But
Yep.
I
I
like it,
agree. I agree.
and I agree
It's
that
fun.
that flare. I hopefully, I don't know. Is that flare intentional? It could be intentional. So who knows?
It could be. I find it more distracting than adding to the image. So
Hmm. Yeah, very cool. All right, and that was Michael DeRay. Peter
thank you,
Levshan
Mike.
is up next. Peter shot this with his A7R1 infrared colored Life on the Beach. Let's take a look. Is this another one of our heroines?
No, this is a
Is that
sandpaper.
Sandpiper? Yeah, Sandpiper.
Yeah.
Little Roadrunners.
I I absolutely love this image. This
Yep.
is fantastic. Um, the play on the twist using the shadow as sort of rotating the image for the shadow as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, the muted tones, the subtle outline of the receding water, the ocean there.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. I I might have cloned out the footprints that we see, behind the bird.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that would
Right
have
here.
Yeah, I think that would have helped sell this a little bit more. And it's completely natural that there wouldn't be footprints because the water comes up around the birds and can wash out the footprints. So it works. Um, but other than that, I love it. I love the crop, the toning, super good,
Mm-hmm.
super good.
Yeah. Or the bird could have just landed right there, hence leaving no footprints.
Could have
So
true that. Yep.
they have three
Got that
dimensions,
part.
Troy.
Yep. Yep. Thanks for that
Yeah.
obvious
Just say
enlightenment
it.
there.
Just say it. They don't have to walk everywhere.
Right.
Um, what about this border? We often joke about borders. He's got
Yep.
different size borders around this. Clearly, it's intentional. But what's the reasoning behind that? And is that good?
Yeah. So what you see here is sort of like a gallery presentation where you weight the bottom of the image, so the bottom feels like it's holding the image up, so it gives it some foundation. And it's not something that you notice right away unless you really look at it. But yeah, that's a very traditional matting standard is where you might bump the bottom up or make the bottom a little bit thicker.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
I like it. I think it's good. I think it's solid. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Now, if we were to print this and hang it in pack or hang it in a gallery, we're not going to print it with that border on there.
Oh,
If you put it in a
okay.
frame and you mounted it, yes, you would put the border on there.
Okay, so clarify that. If you were to print this and hang it in a gallery, you wouldn't print it with the border, or would you create the border with physical mats?
You'd create the border with physical mats. If it
Hmm.
was an edgeless print, something that's like an acrylic or a metal print or like a fine art paper print that's mounted on some kind of substrate where there's no frame, right? It's meant to hang nude on the wall. You would
Hmm.
not print the border. The border would not be printed there. It would just be the image.
Okay.
But if you were to put it in a frame and you wanted to mat it, that would be when you would mat like this.
Ah, got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good work, Peter. Peter's just been crushing it
Yes.
lately.
Oh, this is great. Yeah, I'm really loving that image. And not just because he paid me to say that.
I know. Yeah. Well, a couple $1,000 will do that.
Thousands? I got like $20.
Oh, okay. All right, You're in a different
Uh-oh.
billing cycle.
I
Uh,
guess.
Amy Brooks, she says, I shared this a few months ago, but since we have an open this week, I would love feedback from Shaman Troy and his Shaman Spacemaker Frederick. All right, I am Shaman Spacemaker. I will take that. Let's make some space for this image. Look
Nice.
at that. You know what this reminded me of when I first looked at this image? That's, oh God, I'm going to forget the name of the movie now. It's a recent movie with, what's her name? Amy, what's her name in it? With these monsters, these giant monsters that were trying to communicate. Jeremy Renner's in it as well. You know what I'm talking about. I'm going to have to look it up now. Come on, chat. You know what I'm talking
This,
about, where these giant
this reminds
monsters,
me.
they had landed and they were trying to communicate with us, but we couldn't understand them. And then all the madness that ensued after that, globally. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I have to think about it.
This reminds me of the movie Troll Hunters, and it's all subtitled, and I think it was made like in the Netherlands or something. It is freaking fantastic movie. But this has that spooky, eerie, Lord of the Rings uh, kind of sense and feel. So I I love the fact that we have these silhouetted branches in the foreground that are sharp. We have this distant background with a little bit of light coming through that draws us into the frame and wants us to think about stories and
Mm-hmm.
wants us to kind of fill in the blanks of what's back there. I could see this as a still during a movie, and then all of a sudden, boom, right, and the trees shake a little bit. So that's where my mind goes with this. My only suggestion to the image is I think the highlights at the top are too hot. And I don't want to ruin the backlight of the trees, but I think that just that upper edge need to bring that down. And I know right now Stephen Sharf is thinking of luminosity masking, as am I. And I think that, grabbing the brightness up there and just bringing it down around the trees a little bit so the trees themselves will pop out just a little bit more.
I
So,
agree. And Low Base Guy, thank you for letting me
Arrival.
know. Arrival was the movie. Go look at this. Go look at some photos from Arrival. You're gonna think of this photo. I'm telling you, it's very,
Yeah.
very
Good
similar.
movie. Good movie.
Yep, very good, very good. Yeah, I like that. And are you sure that Stephen Sharf is a fan of luminosity masking? I don't think he likes. I don't think he agrees with that technique at all. He thinks it's
He's
heavy-handed.
typing here right now.
Just for the record, Stephen Sharp does not like luminosity masking. I'm sure of it. Sure of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
No, I
faulty
kid.
news.
I kid. But very cool. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, looking at this image, when I look at it, and I think I love the mist and the mystery and the
Mhm.
mystic feel of those trees in the background. The stark branches in the foreground, I feel they're at odds for me. Like I'd want to see just these guys in the background. I feel like that's the shot for me. Or these guys in the foreground. Like that's the shot for me. Is one or the other. Together, I feel like they're competing and they almost feel disjointed. Um, Separately, they feel like, separately they're stronger. I don't know.
I Yeah, I mean, I don't think the bottom has a story. I don't just the bottom of the image by itself, if I were to crop it, to me that's
Mm-hmm.
not appealing at all.
Mm.
However, just the top half of the image is very appealing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the desktop that I want for a month. I love that.
Right. Right.
But together they work really, really well. And kudos to Amy for seeing this and and capturing it. And I would say, do it some more. Go get some more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like it. I am a fan. Yeah, this is when you start thinking desktop picture, this is where you go, right? This would be a good desktop shot.
And this is, it's very calming. If you look at the upper half and then lower half, it feels like, ooh, you're kind of holding me back. There's a barrier. Oh, I want to go out there. Looking at the top half of the image, the backlight is beautiful, the fog, it's inviting, and then ooh, the bottom half is kind of prickly and sharp and scary. So many things going on in here, and an image like this, you could do a lot with the um, the color grading. You could go everything from monochromatic black and white to extreme colors, warm tones, blue tones. It's all going to change the feel of this image.
Yeah, yeah, it's a blank canvas. All right.
Yep.
Look at that. We
The
got some
shaman.
choices to make here. The shamans have spoken. Yeah. All right. Next up, Joshua Summerfelt. A distorted view of oneself. He shot this with his Canon EOS RP with a Sigma 150 to 600 millimeter Canon on it. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Look at that. This is art. This is art.
I
I
know. I
love that.
know. Josh was so good at this. He does such a great job. Um, I'm really the reflection. I'm really struggling with that reflection. It seems really odd. I'm sure
Because
it's
it's kind of cut off here a little bit, and the kind of layered nature of it. You're like wondering what is making that reflection and why is it cut off here?
weird. I'm assuming it's natural. But it's got kind of a weird, sort of a I don't know what I'm trying to think of. There's like a frequency to it that's kind of odd. But for me, I don't know that I need the reflection. I think it's either like half the reflection. I don't know that I need the whole reflection in there. I
So
think
you would cut
the
it about
main
right
part,
here, maybe?
yeah, maybe it works either way. But I was reading the chat there, the waves. Yeah, though I know the waves are making a reflection. They're just odd.
Yeah. Yeah.
My one suggestion would be bring some light into the swan's face to kind of match the light on the body. I feel like the mask of the face of the swan, the bill is getting lost. So
Yeah. Yeah. I like it though. This is another one of those photos. Does this pass the I would hang it on my wall test
yes,
with a big nice
yes,
black border on it? Yeah, big
um,
frame.
yeah. Well, you'd have to put a key line and then a border because black on black, would disappear.
That's true. Well, have to? Should you? Subjectively, I don't know.
Don't have to. That's true. Never have to.
Never have to.
No,
Cool
but I
shot.
love this. I love the treatment that Joshua puts on these images. Those rich blacks, and then the subject really popping out. I know it's intentional. I like it. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. Stephen Sharp is in the chat. He's saying, yeah, it seems like the wave should be circular, maybe. Yeah, that's curious. Yeah, Joshua Summerfelt, chime in on that either here or in the chat and let us know what the source of these reflections were. I'm curious too.
Yeah, they could just be odd. I mean, nature does weird things, and there's no need to think that it's artificial, but it does seem odd. So
Nature does do weird things. I resemble that remark.
I'm glad you made the connection.
I did. I embrace the weird. All right. Oh, Low Base Guy says he's gonna ask the swan to splash differently. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
there
get
you
on that.
go.
You start training your swans, man. Come on, how dare you?
That's
And
right.
that's it. I think that was the last
Yeah.
one for this critique. What are your you got any thoughts on your favorite?
I am in love with Peter's image. I just love that image.
Is that because he paid for it? Is that where we're going? Is that what we're doing now, Troy Miller?
You know, it's simple. It's easily recognizable what it is, but yet there's a twist to it that just works. And without the shadow of the bird, I wouldn't love it. That without that shadow being that long, facing that way, I just love it. I do. That's certainly my top favorite. Close second and third would be Michael's satin doll, and Amy's. Well, she didn't
The
title it, but
trees.
Amy image.
Yeah.
All three of those, I love those, but I feel like Peter's is a little more clever. So I don't know. I don't know what you
Yeah,
think.
the Peters. Yeah, I like the play on positioning and the play on the rotation, and the play with the shadow. I like that. It's a little on the dark side for me, but I still like it. I like it. I don't even. I would call it. I like Joshua Swan equally, because I like the just
Mm,
the is just very elegant and just it's like a bird theme today. When we do open, does that mean birds? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I like the black and white and the contrast and just the elegance of the
Yeah.
animal just kind of sitting there with the nature reflecting in the water and all that and just the beautiful
Yeah, I
lines
can
of
feel
that
that too.
swan. Yeah, and then this one I love on different for a different reason because we know that little guy runs around the beach and you can make a story up in your head where he sees his shadow and thinks he's bigger than he really is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go with this one.
Well,
I like yeah, Peter can have it. I like it.
I was gonna say, as Shaman Space Maker Frederick, you should make the final choice.
Yeah, Sandpiper. Sandpiper. I like it.
Sandpiper,
Very cool.
Peter. Good job.
Yeah, well good. All right. So our next what's coming up next week for the next challenge?
Uh, Pop art.
Pop
Pop
art.
art. And maybe you
All
should
right.
show the location on TWiP where those live, because you've pre-created the events.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let me just do that. Thank you. So I will switch back to the screen share and show you guys. So if you are wondering, if you are a member of the TWiP Pro community and you're wondering where and the topics are showing up, I've done this. So if we go back to events at the top, you will see all of the upcoming events. Look at that. Well, some of them. So for the next couple of weeks, I've scheduled these guys out. So today was Photo Critique 149, which is open general. A week from today will be pop art, as Troy says. It'll be number 150. After that is musical instrument, followed by digital art. So, and if you want to pop into these, all you got to do is go to the event. Obviously, you can view the event and then it will give you the link to pop into it. All these are streaming on YouTube. And as I said at the beginning there, these will stream on YouTube, but then also out to Twitch and Facebook as well as we get close to the next one. So the next one will stream everywhere. I think this will be the last one. Knock on wood. This will be the last one that only streams to YouTube or only Twitch. Going forward, we'll syndicate out everywhere. So
Cool.
very cool. Very cool. Fun stuff. Learn something new every time. And this events tab, folks, this events tab is where all the events that we do will show up, whether it's, a webinar or if Troy wants to put an event in here for something he's doing on IEPPV or something, that will show up in here so you can be reminded and calendar it and all that stuff. So the events area, it will be increasingly important over the coming weeks and months. So, and that's that.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So pop art. So before we leave, I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but what is pop art, Troy Miller?
You're gonna make me look it up. I don't have the definition in my head. It's really sort of the simplification and using bright colors and tones for your subject matter. But like anything, right? It's up to you to interpret it. And when I looked at pop art, I noticed that each decade kind of had its own pop art. You could go back to the 20s and 30s, and they had a different style of pop art at the time. You could call that, but it's some pop art that's really recognizable is like Andy Warhol's soup can, the Campbell soup can, things like that. So
Mm-hmm. This Superman,
I, I
Superman here. Doing
I wanted to
this.
pick something that was very interpretive. Like you could basically do anything you want in that genre within pop art, and there's going to be a lot of bright colors and creativity. A lot of things going on in there. So I thought it'd be
Does
really
it
fun.
have to? A lot of these are illustrations, though. I'm getting a heavy illustration vibe. Do they have to be sort of illustrative, or can they be photographic?
Yeah. No, they can be photographic. They're tweaked and they're tuned. That one of
Mm-hmm.
Audrey Hepburn. That's a photograph that somebody spent time manipulating.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
mhm.
Interesting. Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a challenge. There is a challenge. Pop art, and all I did was go on Pinterest and search for pop art to get examples / inspiration. So you guys can do that as well. All right,
Yep.
well, that's the end of this one, man. We made it through another one. This was a good one. Thank you to everyone who submitted your shots for this one. Always a pleasure and an honor to chat about and look at your photos. Thank you for submitting. I look forward to seeing more going forward, and I look forward to seeing the pop art ones as well. Troy Miller, any closing thoughts before we end this one?
No, be safe, get vaccinated, be happy.
Yeah, try to get vaccinated. Yeah. I thought you were gonna say D-Bad. Where's your sticker? Let's see your D-Bad yellow sticky. Where is it? There
Right
it
there.
is. D-Bad.
Alternate.
Yep.
D-Bad.
D-Bad. This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way. Yep, exactly. And it's funny. This is a sticky note that has literally been on my desk for probably 10 years. It gets
Really?
moved around, and it's right there. Yeah, yeah. And right above it, it says kindness. So I think that it's something that we all need to practice at. It's so hard to be judgmental and I don't want to say mean, but just it's so easy for us to just express our opinions in a way that's hurtful to other people, and we need to make sure that we do that in a way that expresses kindness. Still have your opinion for sure, but
Yeah.
there's other humans out there.
Yeah. 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 No, absolutely. Well said. Yeah. You basically you're saying the D-Bad is don't be negative, right? Or err on the side of positivity, because negativity is the path of least resistance. So resist a little, right? And go positive. So
Right.
it's easy to be pissed off all the time and think everyone's out to get you, and it's just or you could just think of it the other way and like, hey, I think I feel like having a good day. I feel like having a good day today. So
Well, I'll end with this. I have this philosophy that everything that we do in our life is like has a ripple effect, and that ripple effect affects other people. So if you post something negative, or you're negative that day, or you're unkind that day, it's going to affect somebody. You may not see it, but it's going to affect somebody down the road. So the same thing is, if you're positive, if you're helpful, a slight compliment, text somebody, something kind, it has a positive effect. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's little, but everything we do affects somebody else somehow. So
that's right. That's right. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So you're mean to someone. Oops. Put it on this one. You're mean to someone because you got a bad comment on YouTube, and you screw up that person's day, who goes home to kick the dog. He kicks the dog, which makes the kid sad, and then the kid's crying. So yeah. So butterfly flaps his wings.
Yeah, butterfly effect. Yep.
All right. Well, we'll end it right there. Very cool. Congratulations to Peter Levshan again. You guys are going to have to put Peter in his place, because Peter has been on a roll lately, and I think he needs a reset in terms of his self-confidence, because it's getting out of hand. So you guys need to step it up and rise up against Peter Levshan. I'm calling for it. I'm calling for it. All right, but in all seriousness, congratulations, Peter. That's a great shot and very well deserved. So congratulations on that one, and your winning streak in 2021 and the end of 2020. All right, we'll leave it right there. Troy Miller, thank you for your help again today, and we'll see you next week, right here, hour and a half earlier, to talk about pop art. Right?
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you guys at the member mixer. Be there with your glass of wine or your beer. Otherwise, we'll see you on Monday around this time for the critique. Take care, everybody.
Definitely. Bye.